52 students are there out of 61. Okay, I have posted one poll question in the classroom. Just you answer to this. Why Mohammed, Jagadish, Mugilan, Aishwarya not created workspace? Enna problem ungalku? Even you can create using your mobile phone. Enna prachana Mugilan, Aishwarya?
Ma'am, lap இல்லைங்க மேம். இந்த மொபைல ட்ரை பண்ணி பார்த்தேங்க மேம், என்னால பண்ண முடியல.
ஆனா லேப் இல்லனா பரவாயில்ல, உங்க ஃப்ரெண்டோட லேப்டாப்ல உங்களோட லாகின்க்கு கிரியேட் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. நெக்ஸ்ட் வர்க் பண்றது வந்து நீங்க மொபைல் யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம்.
ஆமா, அதுக்கு தான் மேம் பார்த்துட்டோம். இதை இன்னைக்குள்ள பண்ணிடுவோம்.
ஏன்னா நான் வந்து நெக்ஸ்ட் வீக் வந்து நீங்க பிரசன்ட் பண்ணணும் என்ன பண்ணீங்க அப்படின்ற ரிமைனிங் 4 எக்ஸசைஸ் யூ ஹேவ் டு பிரசன்ட். Next 2 weeks labல Monday, coming Monday and next Monday you have to explain your programs. Yeah, before that you have to execute and post it in the classroom. இல்ல உங்களுக்கு இன்ஸ்டால் பண்றதுல ஏதாவது ப்ராப்ளம் இருந்துச்சுன்னா you ask me. Okay. So today we will see about cursor, PL bar SQL cursor. So in DBMS, you are writing an SQL statements. So when you execute this SQL statement, it will return a set of results. Okay. So the set of results are usually stored in a context area. That is called as context area. Okay. Even you are writing an insert query. After executing the insert query, the SQL compiler will return what is the total number of records inserted successfully. Okay. Suppose you are executing a select query, it will return the number of records. It will return a set of records. Even if you delete a particular record, if the SQL compiler will return some information, that is what is the number of records which is deleted. Okay. So usually that information is stored in a memory area that is called as context area. Okay. So what is a cursor means? A cursor is a pointer to this context area. So in C you have studied what is the purpose of pointer. The same purpose here also the pointer is used in the name of cursor. Okay. A cursor is a pointer to this context area. So PL bar SQL controls the context area through a cursor. So when you execute a SQL statement, sometimes it will return minimum amount of results. Sometimes it return a vast amount of results. Suppose if you execute a select star from table without any constraint, it will return multiple records. Okay, so depending upon the results, either we will use implicit cursor or explicit cursor. Okay. Cursor is nothing but a pointer which is used to access the results which is returned by the SQL statement. Okay. There are two types of cursor, implicit cursor and explicit cursor. Okay. So when we will use implicit cursor means, suppose you are executing a DML statement like insert, update and delete, this implicit cursor is used. Okay. So usually this insert, update and delete will return a small amount of data. Okay. So what is the total number of record inserted successfully? What is the total number of record updated successfully? Okay, so here we are getting only a minimal amount of result as the execution of insert and update and delete query. So for that, it's enough to use implicit cursor. Okay. So there are two types of cursor, implicit cursor and explicit cursor. When we will use implicit cursor means we are processing only a small amount of data, we can use this implicit cursor. If you are processing a vast amount of data, we can make use of this explicit cursor. Okay. So when we use this implicit cursor, we are using some of the attributes that is found. Suppose you are executing an update command. Okay, so you are executing an update command, update by using some where condition. So if there is no record is updated, okay, So if there is no record is updated, it will return not found. Okay. So when you execute this update query, if there is no record is found, it will return a not found. Okay. So if some record is found, it will return this found. Okay. Suppose if you want to know what is the number of rows updated by executing this, after executing this update command, you can use this row count. Okay. So these are all the different types of attributes which is associated with implicit cursor. Okay. So found returns true if an insert, update or delete statement affected one or more rows, or select into statement return one or more rows. Okay. So if the no rows is found, means this found will return a false. Okay. So these are all some set of attributes which is associated with implicit cursor. Okay. To see this one example, so here this is one table, select star from customers. So this will return a 6 records. Okay, in this customer, assume we are having 6 records. Then here we are using implicit cursor. Here we are using implicit cursor. So here we have declared one variable, it is total rows. The data type of the variable is number of size 2. Okay. So under the declare section, we will declare all the variables. Here we are using only one variable. So in this begin and end, we are updating the table customer. Update customers, set salary equal to existing salary plus 500. Okay. So here you are executing an update statement. Okay. So when you execute this update statement, the update statement will return some information. That is, what is the number of rows updated successfully, like that. Okay. So here we are using some implicit cursor. Here we are using SQL not found. This is an attribute which is associated with implicit cursor. If SQL not found, when you execute this update query, if there is no record is found, then we are displaying it, no customer is selected. Okay. So is it clear? SQL not found. When you execute this update query, there is no record is updated. So here you will get SQL not found is true. If it is true, we are displaying no customer selected. But in this table, there are 6 number of records. In this table, there are 6 number of records. So here it comes else if part. Here SQL is found. Okay, some updation takes place. So this SQL found is true. Okay. Here else this is true. Then what we are doing, total rows equal to SQL row count. This is a predefined attribute, SQL row count. This will return the number of rows affected by this update command. So next we are displaying that is, what is the total number of rows selected. So here the total number of rows is 6. So it will say 6 customers selected. You see here, it will display 6 customers selected. Is it clear? What is implicit cursor? So by using this DL bar SQL statement, you can identify what is the total number of records updated by using this update command. So for that we are using implicit cursor. What is the attribute here? We have used this SQL not found and SQL found. Another one is SQL row count. Okay. Just we will execute it in our So first, are you able to see this window? Select star from customers. So first we will see what is the total number of records in this. So here we are having 4 records, 4 rows. Next, by using TL bar SQL, are you able to see this window?
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone unmute and tell me whether you are.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So by using DL bar SQL statement, we will execute that implicit cursor. Okay, just I copied and pasted here. Declare total rows, begin update customer. Here also we have created a table customer. So incrementing salary by 500. Then if there is no record is updated, this will be true. If sum of the record is updated, this will be true. So this will give you the total number of records affected. Just a minute, I will check what is the problem. Already I have executed. Okay, you see here you are getting 4 customers selected. Okay, 4 customers selected. So total rows, update customer, here we are having only 4 records. Okay, update customer, set salary equal to salary plus 500. Then here we are getting this will return 4 customers selected. Is it clear? This is called as implicit cursor. So when we will use this implicit cursor means when you use this insert, update and delete. Why we are using implicit cursor while you execute this insert, update, delete means that will return only small amount of data. Okay. So these are all the different attributes: found, not found, is, open. So here why the purpose of is open is, suppose you are using explicit cursor, it will return multiple records. Then you can use this for loop to fetch each and every records. So in that case, you can first you have to open the cursor. Okay. But in implicit cursor, by default, always it will return false. Then row count. Okay. These are all some of the attributes. Is it clear what is implicit cursor? Another one is explicit cursor. So in explicit cursor, first we have to define the cursor by using this syntax. Okay, cursor is a keyword. Then next one is cursor name is. Then you can execute any select statement. Okay, why we are using explicit statement? When we use explicit cursor means when you execute the select query, it will return multiple records. To process this multiple records, we have to create a structure like data structure, that is structure in C. Okay. So what is the purpose of using array of structure in C? You know. Okay. So by using array of structure, you can store multiple records. So similarly here, the cursor will store all the records which is returned by the select statement. So always this explicit cursor is associated with the select statement. Okay. So first you have to declare the cursor. So this is first one is declaring the cursor. Then open the cursor. Okay. So once if you execute the select statement, you are writing a select statement, select star from customers. Okay. So this will return multiple records. That multiple records will be stored in the customer name. Now you assume this customer name is like array of structure. Okay. Cursor is, assume this cursor is like array of structure. Okay. Then you have to open the cursor to read the data from the cursor. Okay. Second step is you have to open the cursor. Once you have to open the cursor, you can read the records from the cursor. That is called as fetching the cursor for retrieving the data. Okay. Then once you have read all the records from the cursor, then you have to close the cursor. Okay. So there are 4 steps while you working with explicit cursor. Okay. Is it clear? Explicit cursor is associated with the select statement. Why means while we execute the select query, it will return a bulk of records. Okay. So if you want to access the multiple records, we need a pointer. It is like array of structures. Okay. So for that we are creating an explicit cursor. You see here, first step is declaring the cursor. Cursor name is C customers is. then select query. Okay, so in this select query, we are selecting the ID, name, address from the table customer. Okay, this is declaring the cursor. Next one was, once if you declare the cursor, the outcome of the select query will be stored in the C underscore customer. Okay, suppose if it returns 5 records, all the 5 records will be stored in C underscore customers. Okay, then you have to open the cursor. Syntax is open C underscore customer. Here you are opening the customer. Okay. Next, you have to fetch the information from the cursor. So fetch C customer is a cursor name. Fetch this one. So inside this cursor, we will have ID, name, and address. But in customer table, we are having some more attributes in addition to this ID, name, and address. Okay. So we are fetching the first record. Suppose this select query returns 5 records, means first we are fetching the first record and we are moving it into the CID, CNAME, and CAddress. In customer, we are having 3 fields: ID, name, and address. So the value of first record will be moved into CID, CNAME, and CAddress. Okay. Then if you want to display, you can display it by using the output statement. Or if you want to process, you can make use of the corresponding statement. Okay. This is to read, fetches to read a record from the cursor. Next one is closing the cursor. Once you have fetched all the record, you can close the cursor. So see this example. Declare. First we are declaring the variable CID, CNAME, and CAddress. Okay, these 3 are local variable. The data type of CID is the data type of customer.id. Okay. So in customer table, there is a variable ID. So this local variable CID is equivalent to the data type of the table customer ID. Okay. Similarly, we have declared all the local variables. Then we are declaring the cursor. Cursor C customer is, then select query. Okay. Even here you can have a where condition also. You can have a nested query. Okay. Here you can write any type of SQL statement here. Okay. Then begin, open cursor. First we are opening the cursor. Then so inside this cursor, multiple records are there. So we have to fetch one by one. So it is a repeated process. So we are using a looping statement. Okay. So in the previous class, we have seen what are all the different types of looping statement. So loop is one type of looping statement. Loop. Okay. So this is a repeated process. So this fetch is returned within this loop. Okay. Fetch cursor name into CID. So you are reading the first record and that is moved into the corresponding local variable. Okay. So you have to exit from this loop when there is no record is found. Okay. If you reach the end of the cursor, you can exit from the loop. So for that we are using exit when C customers not found. So this is an attribute associated with this cursor. Okay. Not found. Then dbms dot output, you are displaying the customer ID, name, and address. Okay. So first it will fetch the first record, then it will be displayed, then your pointer will point the next record. Okay, cursor is like a pointer. Then it will point the second record, it will display it. Suppose assume you are having 4 records. After displaying the 4th record, it will reach the end of the cursor pointer. Now there is no customer is found, so it will come out of the loop. Okay. So here we are closing the cursor. Okay. So first you have to create the cursor, open the cursor, fetch the record. Then once everything is over, you have to close it. Okay. Is it clear what is explicit cursor? Okay, I will copy this and paste it here. The same thing, declare customer ID, customer type, cursor C customer is select statement, open cursor, fetch, then display the results, end loop, close, cursor name. So in our record, in our customer table, we are having 4 records. So it will display the customer ID, name, and address. Okay, is it clear? What is explicit cursor? Any doubt? Yes. 10 members not in the classroom. Answer your attendance in the chat box. Okay. So next, your next exercise is cursor. So you complete this also within this weekend. Okay. You have to create both type of cursor, implicit cursor. So when you use implicit cursor, you execute this insert, update, and delete statement, and you display the result of each query. Then when you use explicit cursor, you make use of the select query. Okay. Next one is trigger. Okay. So what is trigger? Trigger is a stored programs which are automatically executed. This is important. Trigger is nothing but you are like PL bar SQL program. So there also you will have some set of statements. Trigger is nothing but a stored programs which are automatically executed or fired when some of event occurs. So trigger is nothing but a stored programs which are automatically executed. This is important. Which are automatically executed or fired when some event occurs. Okay. So there are different types of situation that triggers can be fired. Okay. Even when you execute this DML command, that is like delete, insert, update, we can execute a trigger. That is, trigger can be automatically executed, or even when we write a DDL command, trigger can be automatically fired. Okay. Even the database administrator can do some operations. During that time also, the triggers can be fired. Okay. So for example, I will tell you one scenario. You take your nominal role. If any one of the student is discontinued from a particular point, by default, that roll number will be deleted from the nominal role. Okay. Later, some point of time, again the student may come to the college to get some information, that is to get the TC or a mark sheet of the previous semester, etc. So the college has to maintain information about that student. Is it clear? So only the student information in the current nominal role will be deleted. Okay. So when we delete student information from the current nominal role, automatically some stored program will be called. That is, whenever you delete the roll number from the nominal role, a trigger is called. So what does the trigger means? Here we, in this trigger, we will have a set of SQL statement. That is the deleted information will be stored in some other archive database. Okay. So you know what is archive database? That is, the deleted information will be stored as a archive. Okay. So whenever you delete a record from the nominal role, when you execute a delete query in the nominal role, automatically a trigger will be executed. What the trigger will do means it will store information about that student in an archive file. Okay. So that is one type of trigger, one example for trigger. Even if you take this, you take your Gmail account, if you delete your mail, that mail is moved from inbox to deleted item, right? Okay, whenever you delete, automatically it is moved to a deleted items. Okay, like that. if you delete a record from the current nominal role, automatically the deleted record will be stored in a archive database. That is called as one type of trigger. That is a database manipulation trigger. When you execute this delete, a trigger will be automatically fired. You are not going to call it explicitly. Automatically called, and the information, the deleted information will be updated in some other database. So that is called as trigger. Okay. So there are so many benefits of trigger. You go through all these things. Okay. So what is the syntax to create a trigger? So create or replace. Create or replace. This is similar to function and procedure. Okay. So create or replace, trigger is keyword, then trigger name. Create or replace trigger name. You can execute the trigger before executing a query or after executing a query, or instead of executing some other query, you can execute this trigger. Okay. So this is when you execute, when the trigger can be executed. For example, you are writing a trigger for this delete statement. Okay. So before executing the delete statement, the records would be inserted in the archive database. Then only we have to delete. Okay. So sometimes we have to execute the trigger before. Sometimes we will execute the trigger after. Suppose in your stock database, you are having the price rate of each product. Okay. So some point of time you will update the price rate of each product. Okay. So now you want to store the updated details in some other file. Okay. For that you can write a trigger. Whenever you update the price of a particular product, that should be stored in some other database also. In that case, you can write a trigger. So in that case, you will write a trigger after updating the price of a particular product. That updated value will be stored in the new database. Okay. So here you will use this after. Okay. So depending upon the situation, either you can give before or after or instead of. Okay. So this is at what time you want to execute the trigger. Okay. Next, when you execute a insert query, you can fire the trigger or execute update or execute delete. Okay. So this is what are all different queries: insert, update, or delete. Of suppose when you update a particular column, you can trigger this trigger. Okay. So this is also you can write of a particular column. So if you take this that is product information. So when you update the price rate of the item, you want to trigger this trigger means you can give the rate of the product. Okay. Usually you will update the quantity also. When update the quantity, it is not necessary to call the trigger. So when you want to call the trigger means whenever you update the price of the product. Okay. So you will update the table. So even updating the table, when you update the quantity field, it is not necessary to call the trigger. When you want to call the trigger, update the table of unit price. Okay. So here you can give the update on column also. Then on which table? Okay. So this is a product table. Create or replace trigger name. Either you want to execute the trigger before, after, or instead of. For which query, either for insert query or update or delete query. Then on which table. Then referencing old as this is optional. Right now you leave it all these things. So for each row you want to execute the trigger. So for each row, then condition. This is also optional. Okay. So this is the syntax to create a trigger. Okay. So create or replace trigger name before, after, or instead of, then queries, then on table name for each row. Okay. Then here you will usually declare your variables, then begin and end. Okay. So once if you created this trigger, so whenever you execute this set of queries, automatically trigger will be called. Okay. You see this one example. Okay. See here. So in this customer table, customer table, there are 6 records. Customer table, there are 6 records. Okay. So here I am writing a trigger, create or replace trigger. Trigger name is display salary changes. Display salary changes before delete. Suppose if I am deleting a particular record, I want to execute this trigger, or when I execute an insert statement, I want to execute this trigger. Okay, or when I execute update query, I have to execute this trigger. So the trigger is called whenever you execute an insert or delete or update command on the table customers. Okay, the trigger will be called. Okay, for each row when new dot id is greater than 0. So here id is one of the column. So when you insert a particular record, that the id value is called as new dot id. Okay. So here the new dot id refers the new value. If it is old dot id refers the old value. Okay. So this is creating a trigger. Okay. Next we have declared salary difference, one variable. This is a variable. Data type is number. Okay. Next we are calculating the salary difference. Okay. Assume we are writing an update statement. Okay. So you are updating the salary. You are updating salary with 500 rupees. So what the trigger will do is it will display the old salary as well as new salary. Okay. So what is the difference is new salary. Here you can see here colon new dot salary. This refers the salary after updation. Okay. So whenever you execute this update query, the trigger will be calculated. The trigger will display the salary difference. So this new salary will say the new salary after update or after insert or after delete. Okay. So the old salary refers the salary before insert or before update. Okay. Old refers before insert or before update. So this will display old salary, new salary as well as salary difference. Okay. This is called as trigger. This is trigger definition. This is trigger for body. Okay. Once if you executed this one, it will say trigger is created. Okay. So now we will execute this trigger. The same thing, create or replace trigger, display salary changes, before delete or insert customer, this one. We will run this one. Now we are getting a message as trigger created. Okay. So what is trigger? Trigger is nothing but a set of stored program. Okay. This is called as one procedure. Now this is created. Now this is available in this workspace. Okay. Next. So next we are getting trigger creator. Next you see here we are creating inserting a record into the customer. Okay, we are inserting a record into the customer. So whenever you execute an insert command, automatically the trigger will be fired. Okay, that is the purpose of using trigger. Already we have created a trigger for this table customer. So whenever you perform insert operation or delete operation or update operation, the trigger will be calculated. So what the trigger will do is it will display the old salary as well as new salary as well as salary difference. So this is a new record. So here this is a new record. There is no old salary. So it will display only the new salary. New salary is 7,500 and salary differences, there is no salary difference. Okay. Is it clear? So when you execute this insert statement, automatically the trigger will be fired and it will display the salary difference. Okay. Now we will execute this one. So now I am using this instead of PL bar SQL, I am using SQL window. Okay. So insert into customer ID, name, age, address, salary, value, this one. See here. So before, when you execute this insert query, we will get only one row is inserted. Now, in addition to that, we are getting some other information. That is, what is old salary, what is new salary, what is the salary difference. So this is because of this trigger. Okay. Here we have not explicitly called the trigger. Okay. So the trigger is automatically called when you execute this insert query. Okay. Is it clear what is trigger? So trigger is nothing but a stored procedure that is stored in our workspace. First, we have to create a trigger. So whenever you execute the corresponding query, automatically it will be fired. Another one is update statement. See this one. So update customer, set salary equal to salary. So before that, we will execute one select query. Select star from customers. So see here, what is the salary? First one is 3,000, 7,500, 2,500, etc. Okay. So now we will update this query. So while you execute this select query, no additional information will be displayed because we have not written any trigger for this select query. Okay. So next update. So we are updating the salary for ID equal to 2. Okay. So for this, it will execute the update query. So while update query is executed, the trigger is called. The trigger will find the salary difference. The old salary is 2,500. New salary is 2,500 plus 500. So new salary is 3,000. The salary difference is 500. Is it clear? So automatically the trigger will be called. Yes. Suppose if you want to know what are all the triggers you have created as of now, so that can be known by using this select star from, there is a predefined table name user underscore trigger. Okay. So there is a predefined variable name user underscore trigger. User underscore trigger is a predefined table name which will have information about all the rows, all the triggers which is created by you. Okay. User underscore trigger is a built-in table name. Okay. So as of now, we have created one trigger, display salary changes. Okay. So this is the trigger name. So trigger type is before each row. Okay, before each row. So triggering event, whenever you execute insert or update or delete, the trigger will be generated. Okay. So this is the different event on which event the trigger will be fired. Okay. Table owner, table name is customer. Okay. So the trigger is created for the table customer. Referencing. Okay. So referencing names, that is new refers new value, old refers old value. Okay. So even you can redefine this referencing name by using this in trigger syntax. Also we have seen this referencing names. Okay. So if you want to refer new as some other thing, here you can do referencing new as some new value, old as old value, like that. Okay. And then status is enabled. So if you change this status is disabled, means the trigger will not be fired. Okay. Description, action, these are all information. So this is the different columns of trigger table. Okay, user underscore trigger is a predefined table which will have information about the triggers which is created by the user. So another one is, suppose if you are deleting a particular customer from the table. Okay, you are deleting a customer from the table. So whenever delete a customer from the table, that should be stored in some other table, that is org. So for that also you can create a trigger. I will paste here. So as of now we are having only one trigger. So create or replace trigger. Insert delete is my trigger name. Insert delete one is my trigger name. Insert underscore delete one is my trigger name. Before delete. So when I want to trigger this trigger before delete on table name is customer. Okay. So whenever I perform a delete operation on customer, so I want to insert that record, insert into old EMP. So old EMP is another table. Okay. So in the table, I want to store the deleted information. So this is like our archive. Okay. So insert into old EMP, ID, name, age, salary, values. Here you see. So before delete, the old values referred as old.id, old.name, old.age, old.salary. Okay. So before delete, I want to move the deleted record to a archive table. Okay. So here we are referring this old. Suppose if you refer new means only the new value will be stored in the archive file. Okay. So before that, we will see what is the information available in this old EMP. Select star from so this is also a table. First, we will check what is the information available in this. Select star from old EMP. So already I have created the table. So no data found. So in select star from ODL EMP, this is old EMP, there is no data found. Okay. So now I am creating a trigger, create or replace trigger, insert delete one, insert delete one, before delete on customer for each row I am giving. Okay. So now I am getting a message as trigger created. Okay, I have created a trigger, insert delete one. Next, I am going to so I am going to delete one record from the table customer. Delete from customers where ID equal to 1. Where ID equal to 1. So I am going to delete only one record from the table customer. Okay. Delete from customer where ID equal to 1. So I am getting one rows deleted. So in the trigger I have not written anything. So what is there means just whenever I delete a particular record from the table that is inserted into another table. So now we will execute a query to display the content of old EMP. Select star from old EMP. So now you see that is one record is inserted into this old EMP, that is with ID 1. Because this ID is deleted in actual employee table, whenever you execute delete in employee table, that will be inserted in the archive table. Okay, that is the trigger we have written. Is it clear? Yes. Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
See here. So in this trigger, in addition to this insert, we have displayed one DBMS. We have displayed one output statement, record inserted. Okay. Now you execute this create. Already we have created. Now create or replace. So the existing trigger is replaced. There is an error. Okay, here why this is not replacing the existing trigger?
Ma'am, there is two quotations in the print state, the output statement.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, now its trigger is created. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, so already we have created one trigger. Now we are replacing the existing trigger. Okay, now trigger is created. Now if you delete any of the record from the table customer, it will display record inserted. Okay, so because in this trigger we have written one output statement. Just 2 minutes, I will complete it. Deletes from customer where ID equal to is there. So if you execute this one, so record inserted, you are getting the message record inserted in addition to that one row is deleted. Now if you see this output of that old EMP, you will get 2 records. So here it will display both the records, the Ramesh and ID is 2. So that is the purpose of using trigger. So in real-time application, usually they will use the trigger to handle different types of DML commands. Even we can write a trigger while you create this DDL command also. Okay. Is it clear? Any doubt up to this? So I will create the link for posting the records. Roll number 98.